Home is where the heart is. But for Marcus and Alana, their dream home became a battlefield the moment their neighbor stepped outside. What started as a quiet evening of moving boxes would turn into a shocking lesson in prejudice, power, and justice. The sun was sinking low, casting a golden glow over the manicured lawns of Crestwood Estates, one of the city's wealthiest neighborhoods. For Marcus and Alana Johnson, it was supposed to be a perfect evening. After years of hard work, sleepless nights, and countless sacrifices, they were finally moving into the home they had dreamed of for years. But before the first box could even make it through the front door, trouble arrived. The screen door next door slammed open. Out stormed a woman in her mid-50s, arms crossed, her face twisted with indignation. Her name was Karen, and she was ready for war. "What do you think you're doing here?" she barked, her voice sharp and cutting. Marcus, lifting a box from the truck, looked up in confusion. "Excuse me?" Karen's eyes narrowed. "Don't play games with me. People like you don't live in Crestwood. So why don't you pack those boxes back up and move along before I call security?" The words hung heavy in the evening air. "People like you." Alana froze mid-step, clutching a box of kitchenware. Her chest tightened, but Marcus set the box down carefully, keeping his voice steady. "Ma'am, this is our home. We just closed on it last week." Karen laughed bitterly. "Oh, please, I know the family who used to live here, and I highly doubt they sold to you." Her gaze swept over them like poison. Alana's eyes burned, but Marcus squeezed her hand gently. Years of facing moments like this had taught him the power of restraint. Still, Karen wasn't finished. She pulled out her phone, her voice rising. "You can either leave now or I'll call the neighborhood board. Better yet, I'll call the police. Let's see how long your little story holds up when the real authorities show up." By now, a few curious neighbors had begun peeking from behind curtains, their phones ready, recording. Marcus could feel the weight of every stare. Alana finally spoke, her voice trembling with both fear and fury. "We worked hard for this house. We belong here just as much as anyone else." Karen smirked, her voice dripping with arrogance. "Sweetheart, you'll never belong here. This is Crestwood. This is our community. And you," she jabbed a finger toward Marcus, "you're nothing but a trespasser." The moment was suffocating. Marcus took a deep breath. Enough was enough. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather folder. Slowly, deliberately, he opened it and held it high enough for everyone watching to see. Inside were official documents, property deeds stamped and signed by the county registrar. "This isn't just our home," Marcus said, his voice firm, steady, and louder now for the crowd to hear. "We own the entire neighborhood, every single house, including yours." The silence that followed was deafening. Karen blinked, her smirk evaporating. What are you talking about?" Alana stepped forward now, her voice clear and strong. "We're the new owners of Crestwood Estates Development Group, which means every homeowner here pays us association dues, including you." Gasps rippled through the growing crowd. Neighbors who had been quietly recording now stepped closer, their cameras catching Karen's face as the color drained from it. Dramatic irony cut through the air. The woman who said they didn't belong was now learning she was living on their property. Karen stumbled backward, stammering, No, this can't be true." But it was, and everyone saw it. The shift of power was absolute. Karen, who moments earlier stood tall with arrogance, now trembled with humiliation as the reality settled in. The couple she mocked had the power to evict her if they wanted. Marcus placed an arm around Alana and turned toward the neighbors, his voice steady. "We didn't come here to fight. We came here to build a home just like anyone else. But let this be clear. We will not be disrespected. Not in our neighborhood." Some neighbors clapped, others nodded quietly. Phones captured every second. Karen turned and fled to her porch, her head bowed, her earlier confidence shattered. For Marcus and Alana, it felt like justice. But the victory didn't last long. Later that evening, as the couple unpacked boxes inside their home, a knock rattled the front door. Alana opened it to find 3 members of the Crestwood Estates Homeowners Association Board standing stiffly on the porch. Their faces were unreadable, their posture formal. The tallest, a gray-haired man in a navy suit, cleared his throat. "Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, we need to talk immediately." Marcus exchanged a wary glance with Alana before inviting them inside. The board members sat stiffly at the dining table, their eyes flicking around the newly decorated home as though it were foreign territory. Finally, the gray-haired man spoke. While you may indeed own the development group that manages Crestwood Estates, that does not give you the right to disrupt the harmony of this neighborhood. Residents are concerned about your presence. Alana's brows shot up. Concerned? Because we stood up to Karen's harassment? Another board member, a woman with pearl earrings, leaned forward. You must understand, Crestwood has a reputation. People moved here for a certain atmosphere, and your arrival, under such public circumstances, has unsettled many of our residents. Marcus's jaw tightened. Are you saying we don't belong here because of how we look? The room went silent. The board members shifted uncomfortably, refusing to meet his eyes. Finally, the man in the navy suit slid a folded document across the table. We're requesting that you sell the neighborhood rights back to the board and leave Crestwood quietly. In exchange, we'll ensure you receive more than double your investment. Alana's heart pounded. You want us to walk away after everything we've worked for? The man's voice hardened. Let me be clear. If you refuse, life here will become very difficult. Sometimes it's better to take the money and avoid conflict. The threat was unmistakable. Marcus pushed the document back across the table. His voice was low but unwavering. We didn't come here to be bullied. We're not going anywhere. The board members stood, their faces cold. As they walked out, the woman in pearls turned back, her voice like ice. Then don't say we didn't warn you. For a few days, things seemed calm. But then, strange things began to happen. Their mail vanished, important documents never arrived. Trash was dumped on their lawn overnight. A for sale sign mysteriously appeared in their yard, though they had never ordered one. Worst of all, someone called Marcus's hospital, spreading false rumors that he was under investigation for malpractice. Everywhere they turned, someone was trying to ruin them. Alana broke down one evening, her voice shaking. Marcus, what if they push us out? What if this neighborhood was never meant for us? Marcus wrapped his arms around her. Then we fight harder, because this isn't just about us anymore. It's about everyone who's ever been told they don't belong. But deep down, even he knew, this was bigger than Karen, bigger than one petty neighbor. This was a system built to drive them out, and they were standing right in its crosshairs. That night, as they prepared for bed, a loud crash echoed outside. Marcus rushed to the window and froze. Their car sat in the driveway, its windshield shattered, its tires slashed. But that wasn't the worst part. Painted across the garage door in red spray paint were 3 chilling words. Get out now! Marcus's fists clenched as Alana gasped, covering her mouth in horror. The battle had just begun, and this time it wasn't just about property. It was about survival, dignity, and justice in a place determined to erase them. Before we continue this dramatic story, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you never miss any of my latest uploads. If you're really enjoying this story, your support helps me bring even more powerful content to you. The spray-painted words, "Get out now," still glared across Marcus and Alana's garage. Their car sat wrecked in the driveway, glass glinting in the moonlight like shattered hope. Alana was trembling. Marcus, this isn't just harassment anymore, this is dangerous. Marcus took her hands. His voice was steady, though his heart was racing. If they think this will scare us into leaving, they don't know who they're dealing with. We've faced worse than this, but in the silence that followed, both of them knew. The neighborhood war had officially escalated. The next morning, the Homeowners Association called for an emergency meeting. Curious and anxious neighbors crowded into the clubhouse, whispering among themselves. At the front sat Karen, her face smug again, as though she'd been waiting for this chance. The gray-haired chairman cleared his throat. As you all know, there have been disturbances since the arrival of our new residents. It's our duty to vote on whether their ownership of Crestwood Estates is in the best interest of our community. Gasps rippled through the room. A vote? Against Marcus and Alana? Karen leaned into her microphone, her voice dripping with venom. These people don't understand our way of life. They've brought nothing but chaos. Look at the vandalism on their property, proof that their presence causes division. For the sake of Crestwood, they need to go. The crowd murmured in agreement, some nodding, some shifting uncomfortably. Marcus slowly stood, his tall frame commanding the room. He walked to the front, his gaze sweeping across the faces of people who had been silent witnesses to Karen's cruelty. You say we don't belong here? Let me tell you something. His voice grew stronger, steady as steel. The only reason there's chaos is because Karen decided to humiliate us the first night we moved in. She thought we were beneath her. She thought we didn't deserve to be here, but the truth is we don't just belong here. We own this community. Every street, every home, every brick was built under the company we run. Gasps again, this time louder. Karen's smug smile faltered. Marcus continued, his voice resonating with power. And while you try to paint us as outsiders, let me remind you, your children play in the parks we built. Your families swim in the pools we maintain. And the home you live in, our work made it possible. So tell me, who really doesn't belong here? The room went silent. For the first time, Karen had no words. Karen had tried to make Marcus and Alana feel powerless. Instead, her own world, her home, her status, existed because of them. Without the very couple she despised, Crestwood Estates wouldn't even exist. One neighbor stood, then another. Slowly, applause filled the room, echoing against the clubhouse walls. But not everyone clapped. The board members exchanged cold, knowing looks. The chairman banged his gavel. Enough. We will not allow emotional speeches to distract from the facts. The vote will proceed. Hands were raised, some in favor of removing Marcus and Alana, others against. But when the final count came, the motion failed. They had won. Karen's face turned pale. After the meeting, neighbors approached Marcus and Alana, shaking their hands, apologizing for their silence before. Some even offered to help clean the vandalism off their garage. For the first time, the couple felt the tide shift. The same people who once watched in silence were now standing beside them. Justice, real justice, was beginning to take root. Karen stormed out of the clubhouse, her pride in ashes. She had been defeated not once, but twice. Or so it seemed. Later that night, as Marcus and Alana shared a quiet moment on their porch, headlights flashed at the end of the street. A black SUV slowed, then stopped right in front of their house. 3 men stepped out, dressed in suits, their expressions hard and unreadable. One of them carried a briefcase. "Mr. and Mrs. Johnson?" the tallest man said, his voice low. "We need to talk. It's about Crestwood Estates, and it's about Karen." Marcus frowned. "Who are you?" The man opened the briefcase, revealing documents stamped with a government seal. "Let's just say Karen isn't acting alone. And what you're up against goes far deeper than you think." Alana's heart skipped. "What do you mean?" The man glanced around, then lowered his voice. "Karen has ties to people who don't want you here, not just in this neighborhood, but in this city. And unless you're ready to fight on a much bigger battlefield, you and everything you've built will be destroyed." The wind howled through the trees as the SUV door slammed shut. The men drove off, leaving Marcus and Alana staring at each other in shock. What had started as a fight against one hateful neighbor had now spiraled into something far larger, something dangerous. And for the first time, Marcus felt a chill of uncertainty, because this battle wasn't just about Crestwood anymore. It was about power, corruption, and survival. In the face of arrogance, Marcus and Alana stood tall and proved their worth. Justice came, but it also uncovered a darker truth, that hate often hides deeper roots. And sometimes, standing up for what's right means preparing for battles you never expected. What would you have done if you were in Marcus and Alana's shoes? Take the money and leave, or stand your ground and fight back? Comment your answer below, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories.